If you're a sports fan, make sure you go check out SportsCastr for all of your sports news. Whether you are a Patriots fan or not, this is the perfect way to meet all of your sports needs and is a platform I personally use myself in case any of you guys want to catch me live talking about training camp recaps, etc. I'll leave a link in the description below. What is up, Pats Nation? It's Patriots Global back here with another video, and Jarrett Stidham, y'all. Jarrett Stidham just continues to impress us. Now, before I hop into this video, if you guys would like to get your own Patriots Global merch, there will be a link in the description below. If you guys do actually end up getting merch and you send me a picture of you wearing the merch, I will actually include you in my next YouTube video. Now, of course, Jarrett Stidham is a former 4th round pick of this past year's draft, coming out of Auburn. There was so much questioning surrounding him. I mean, 4th round, it isn't 1st round, okay, it's not 2nd round, but 4th round is still pretty high. We're not talking about the previous year in 2018 when the Patriots used a 7th round pick on quarterback Danny Etling. A 4th round pick, especially when selecting a quarterback, is a guy that you potentially believe could be something for you in the future, a potential starter, but at least a very solid backup. And through OTAs and minicamp, we're not really hearing too much of Jarrett Stidham. Of course, we're getting how each of the quarterbacks is doing, what they're completing on each passes, whether that's 1-on-1, 7-on-7s, 11-on-11s, but nothing was too crazy about Jarrett Stidham. But again, that's OTAs and that's minicamp. Those two things are not all that big. We get into the beginning of training camp, and Jarrett Stidham, he's struggling a little bit. And, I mean, that's nothing too crazy. Again, he is a rookie 4th round quarterback, hopping into the NFL for his first time, hopping into his first training camp, but Jarrett Stidham very quickly adapted and changed everything around within a couple of days. Very quickly, he took away that 3rd string role from Danny Etling, and then he started to take away some reps from, actually, believe it or not, Brian Hoyer, and there was even times he was actually getting some 1st string action. Day by day, as things went on, Jarrett Stidham just was looking so much more poised in the pocket than he was the previous day. Reports came out saying how accurate he was, and that was really a big thing for me because there were some question marks coming out of the draft with Jarrett Stidham's accuracy, but again, reports are coming out that he's dropping straight dimes. He's very good with accuracy. He looks like he's very comfortable in the pocket. He's very comfortable controlling the rest of the offense. And that is something that is extremely important because that's something Danny Etling, if you look at, could never do. And it really pegged him a lot in the NFL. It really pegged him as a quarterback because he was constantly second-guessing himself. He was never comfortable. He was super tense. He was never able to throw a good ball because of it. But of course, all this was just training camp. We haven't seen him play in the NFL at all yet. Not even a preseason game, all right? The preseason rolls along. Week 1 versus the Detroit Lions, and Jarrett Stidham comes out on his birthday, actually, and showed us the best thing to a quarterback that we've seen since Jimmy Garoppolo. Well, obviously, besides Tom Brady, but every other quarterback that the Patriots had brought in since Jimmy G had never lived up to anything special, and he's hands down been the best thing we've seen since Jimmy G, who was selected in the 2nd round of the draft. Stidham actually ended up playing more than 2 times the amount of snaps that Brian Hoyer did. And that's crazy. I mean, it's week 1 of the preseason, and the air quote 2nd round quarterback is already losing to the 3rd string rookie. And that's not to knock on Brian Hoyer, because this is hands down the best I've seen from Brian Hoyer since being back in a Patriots uniform. Jarrett Stidham finished his first night as a Patriots quarterback, playing 69% of offensive snaps with 58, and then Brian Hoyer finished the night with 31% of offensive snaps with just 26. Stidham really helped lead the Patriots to that 31-3 victory over the Detroit Lions, and he really commanded the pocket. He really was just extremely poised in general, and he finished the night being 14 of 24 passes for 179 yards and 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. And actually, believe it or not, those stats should have been better. He should not have been 14 out of 24. Okay? He would have had easily at least 200 yards. For those of you who are actually able to watch the entire game, you'll know what I'm talking about here, and that is Jarrett Stidham on 2 separate occasions threw 2 beautiful, extremely accurate passes down the field, both to Maurice Harris, but both were dropped. There was one point that Maurice Harris was actually guarded by 2 defenders, and Jarrett Stidham had a very tight pocket, but he threw it in exactly, just directly into Maurice Harris's hands, and Harris was just not able to bring the ball in. When Stidham had finally entered the game after Brian Hoyer, the Patriots had already been leading 14-0. Stidham completed his first pass for 13 yards to Matt Lacoste, and then he ended up finding Jacoby Myers right after for a 5-yard touchdown. Something Bill Belichick really liked about Jarrett Stidham is that he made good decisions. And unlike Danny Etling, he actually lived up to that expectation. He's being very careful with the ball, but he's not being careful in a sense that he's only doing, straight dump-offs. He's not doing a 5-yard throw slant to the left side or to the right side, or just throwing easy checkdowns down the field. Okay, he's thrown into tight coverages. He's thrown deep balls. He's taken those chances. But he's been very smart when taking those chances, and that's the big thing to remember. A big thing for Jarrett Stidham was actually being able to get the ball out on time, not holding on to the ball for too long, and he did fairly well with that. Now, there definitely was times where Jarrett Stidham did hold on to the ball for too long. There were times that I'm sure he threw some balls that he wished he had back, but for this being his first game ever in the NFL, and the fact that he did a lot better than most of the first-round quarterbacks that were taken in this draft, it really speaks volumes to what the potential of Jarrett Stidham has with the Patriots. A lot of people are going to say, all right, calm down. This was just the Detroit Lions, And I will say, it was just the Detroit Lions. It is just the preseason. Literally nothing was good for the Detroit Lions this past week. But what you also have to remember is that Jarrett Stidham had been playing this well also when he was playing against the Patriots defense. Now, maybe he struggled a little bit more, but again, you're playing against one of the best defenses in the league, arguably the best secondary. And you saw what our pass rush is able to do. Of course, any quarterback is going to struggle a little bit there, but the fact that he's still playing at a high level against our defense is saying something. Now, I'm not going to straight up going out and say, Jarrett Stidham is our future. I do think it is still early. We'll have to continue to see how he develops. We'll have to continue to see how he does throughout the rest of the preseason games. But so far, I feel very comfortable with Jarrett Stidham, especially with all the stuff that's happening with Brady, him playing year to year, his whole contract situation getting mixed up, rumors coming out that he's actually selling his house in Boston. Just all this different media craze. It is very nice to have a guy who you can potentially say could be a very good backup to Tom Brady whenever Brady does decide to call it a career. But that is it for today's video. What are your guys' thoughts on Jarrett Stidham, both in practice, in joint practice, and more specifically in this past preseason game? Let me know in the comments below. And if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe yet. It really helps me and the channel out a lot. Also, if you leave a like, that would also be extremely, extremely appreciated. And I promise your subscription will not be let down. Make sure you guys share this video with everybody who knows when to go to the Patriots Global family. And other than that, I will catch you guys in another video.